Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to this video. Just want to do a video on TIPM issues, which is short for totally integrated power module issues. And this is extremely common for Chrysler vehicles, and essentially when I say Chrysler, I mean like Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles. Um, So essentially, the tip-in is the fuse and relay box. That's essentially what it is. And you could also call it the power relay sensor. And it was called that before it was called the tip-in. But if you guys have Volkswagens between 2020 and 2014, it also includes the Wu-10 and Touareg as far as what brands this video is essentially encompassing. So this is a pretty common issue with Chrysler vehicles, Chrysler sub-brand vehicles. Essentially, if you guys don't know what the tip-in is, it pretty much distributes electrical power to various systems throughout your car: door locks, power windows, headlights, tail lights, signals, fuel pump, starter, cooling fan, wipers, washers, AC, radio, etc. And your ECM, your ECU, your all those modules, your instrument cluster, anti-lock brake systems, and obviously the computers that I mentioned: ECM, ECU, PCM. So essentially anything that has any kind of electrical power essentially goes through the tip-in. Is actually what actually relays the power from the battery to the rest of the vehicle. All right. And normally, if you guys have this issue, a lot of times in these vehicles, they would be driving fine, never had these issues, and out of nowhere, you would start having issues with the cooling fan, the HVAC system not working, your wipers not working, your AC not working, your radio not working, etc., etc. And all these things would just stop working all at once, or you would get codes for a variety of things that have no connection to each other. Now, you guys are in this situation and you guys don't know too much about how the tip-in is actually related to all these electrical systems in your car. It's probably one of these daunting things where you're thinking maybe it's all these things that has a problem, and you're gonna have to look into all these problems. But essentially, if you have multiple things, issues happening with your vehicle, not working your vehicle, the HVAC not working, the wipers not working, multiple lights on your dash, your door locks not working, etc., etc. You guys don't have to do any kind of troubleshooting with those parts, with those features of the car, because it's probably the tip-in that you guys would have to look at to see if there's any short or any communication issue that occurred to actually cause this situation. Because the tip-in itself is essentially a communication hub with all these modules, and it essentially is the main function that actually keeps the ECU, the ECM, the PCM, all these various systems working the way they're supposed to. So it's also instrumental in the process of starting your car, and once your car is started, it really doesn't play any plays little to no role in engine runtime performance, but it does have a connection to all those systems that I mentioned. So let's go down the list of what you guys would look for if you guys have all these symptoms that I've mentioned. All right, all these things that's connected to the TIPM itself. What you guys want to do first, all right, you guys want to look at the fuses, obviously, because the fuses are inside the TIPM itself. So obviously they're designed so that if there's any surge of power, it burns the fuse out. It doesn't burn anything else out. It doesn't burn the wires out. It just shorts out the fuse. The fuse is blown. You can always replace the fuse. It's there for that purpose. But however, if you guys have an internal short in the TIPM itself, and you guys keep on replacing the fuse and it keeps on blowing, a lot of times this is confined to door locks, and you know, it's not really common to all the other fuses. But if you guys have the door locks, the fuse to the door lock constantly blowing, just know that there's probably a short in the TIPM itself. And if you guys do have this issue, what you guys want to do is you guys want to figure out where that broken or shaped wiring is that's burning out the fuse, so that it doesn't keep on happening again, because that could cause a lot more issues with the TIPM itself. Second thing you guys want to look for are relays. Essentially, some of the relays can only be replaced on the TIPMs if it's soldered into the TIPM. All right. In those cases, you might want to just change the TIPM itself if you think that relay is the cause of your issue. So basically, if you guys have this issue with the TIPM itself, it could be easy to diagnose, or it could be kind of hard to diagnose. But if the TIPM itself, the whole entire fuse box, actually have some kind of short, obviously it's going to cause the TIPM to have issues distributing power, and the device that's receiving power really will have issues using that power to operate normally. The wire between the TIPM and where the power is needed in these cases are probably damaged, and the signal that you get from the modules, the ECM, ECU, etc., to the TIPM would have issues, and then this could actually cause other modules in like the other modules that's connected to it to have issues. Now, if you guys are looking for symptoms, it's essentially this. All right. Normally with TIPM issues, and this is a very, very, very common thing with Chrysler vehicles, having TIPM issues, frayed wiring that gets shorted. If you guys have a fuse that keeps on getting blown, there's frayed wiring. A lot of these situations would actually entail you having to change out the tip-in itself. They're not very expensive. A, they're not very expensive, and B, a lot of times you really do not have to program it. All right, the tip-ins don't normally need to program as long as you get the specific tip-in for your specific vehicle. All right, essentially, it's not like it's the ECU or the ECM or the TCM, the transmission control module. It's not really a computer system itself that needs to be programmed. All right, it actually just relays the power from the battery to these systems. Obviously, if you think about it, if you guys have, and in these situations, you're gonna have multiple things failing. It's not just one thing that's failing. If you get the situation where only one thing is failing, you might want to check the fuse for it, but it could be other things that could be causing it. It's probably not the tip-in. Normally in these situations, out of nowhere, out of the blue, you have about 5 or 6 different things failing at the same time. And if you plug in your OBD2 scanner, you might get about 10 different codes for 10 different things that have nothing to do with each other. All right, and that's the situation that we're talking about. In this situation, the best thing to do is to figure out if there's a fuse blown, if it's not getting power, if the fuse keeps on blowing. You might want to just look at the tip-in itself. You might have to just take the tip-in off the base, off the frame, and see what the issues are, as far as maybe broken wires with exposed wires that's maybe touching the frame, that's shorting either the tip-in out or just shorting that particular fuse out. All right, so in these situations, and that's probably, you know what, that's probably like the best thing to do. As far as trying to fix this situation, a lot of times you get a short that actually will burn the socket to where the fuse is, and in that situation, you probably want to change out the tip-in itself, which is not a big deal. If you actually think that it's probably the tip-in that's causing it, and it might be, the best scenario might be to actually buy a used tip-in from eBay or the junkyard and then swapping it out. It might actually just fix your whole entire situation altogether. And as far as the codes are concerned, you can use an OBD2 scanner to erase the codes. All right, you know it's fixed when those codes don't come back, and you have use of your wipers and everything else that failed to operate when you start having this situation. Now, obviously, if you change out the tip-in and you clear all the codes and then it comes back again, you definitely want to look at the wiring that's connected to the tip-in. There's probably a good chance that there's probably a ground, a positive line somewhere hitting the ground that's burning up or causing issues with the tip-in. And in that case, you're probably going to have the same situation you have where your tip-in itself is actually, it'll burn some components on the tip-in, which makes it something that's not usable. But in any case, that's pretty much it. Hey, if you guys have any of your own personal opinions on this, or any of your own personal experiences with this, definitely feel free to leave a comment in the comment section. Probably help somebody else out. Please subscribe. Please give me a thumbs up. All that good stuff. Appreciate your time. All right, guys. Take care.